Hello everyone, my name is Mohammad Ibrahim and welcome to the first video of our course on data governance. This entire course is based on DAMA DM Book 2, the Data Management Body of Knowledge Framework, which is a global standard for data management and primary study guide for CDMP certification. So let's get started. Whether you are a complete beginner who has never heard of the term data governance before, or a working professional who deals with the data every day, this course is designed for you. In the first video, we are going to answer two fundamental questions. First, what data governance is exactly? And second, why should you and your organization care about it? Let's get started. Here is what we will cover today. The video is split into two parts. In part A, we will tackle the what. We will open with real world data failure story, then define data governance using the MBOK framework, and draw the critical line between data governance and management, and look at the Dharma wheel that shows how governance connects to everything else. In part B, we will cover the why part. We will walk through the business drivers for data governance, look at the surging cost of poor data, talk about this treating data as an asset, and distinguish data governance from IT governance. By the end of these videos, you will have a clear and solid metal model of data governance. So let's dive into part A. Let me start with a story. A major bank submitted inaccurate regulatory report for three consecutive quarters. Not one, three consecutive quarters. When regulator caught the error, the consequences were severe. Over $200 million in fine. Senior executives were forced to resign and a complete loss of trust from stakeholders and investors and customers. Now, here's a critical question. Was this a technology problem? Were the systems broken? Were the databases corrupted? No. Technology was fine. The system was working exactly they were designed to work. The problem was that nobody owned the data. There were no rules defining how the data should be validated before it went into those regulatory reports. There was no one accountable for checking the accuracy of the data. There was no governance. This is exactly the kind of disaster that data governance is designed to prevent. And this is not an isolated case. Stories like this happen every single day across industries worldwide. So what exactly data governance is? Let's define it. The Dharma DM book in chapter 3 defines the governance, and I quote, the exercise of authority and control, including planning, monitoring, and enforcement over the management of data assets. Now that's a very formal definition. Let me break down into something that you can actually remember. Governance is a system that answers the three questions for your organization. First, what rule govern our data? That means policy, standards, procedures. Second, what roles are responsible? That means stewards, owners, governance bodies. And third, who is accountable when things go wrong? That means oversight, monitoring, and enforcement. If you remember nothing from this video, remember these three words: rules, roles, and accountability. That is governance in a nutshell. Rule defines what should happen with the data. Role defines who is responsible for making it happen. And accountability ensures that there are consequences when it does not happen. Now let's zoom out and look at what a data governance program actually covers in practice. According to the DM book, there are six key areas. The first is strategy, defining and driving execution of your data strategy, making sure it aligns with your business strategy. Second is policy, setting and setting and enforcing rules for how data is managed and who can access it and how it must be secured. The third is standard and quality, setting data quality benchmarks and architectural standards that everyone must follow. Fourth is oversight. This is the hands-on part, observation, audit, and correction. This is what we call stewardship. We will dedicate an entire video to it in this later course. Fifth is compliance, making sure your organization meets the regulatory requirement. Think about GDPR, HIPAA, BDB Bahrain, QCB. Sixth is issue management, identifying, escalating, and resolving data-related issues. When something goes wrong with the data, there needs to be a process to handle it. Notice how broad this scope is. The data governance is not just about databases or IT system. It touches the strategy, policy, people, and compliance and operations. This is fundamentally a business function. So now I need to draw a line that is absolutely critical. This is one of the most commonly tested concepts in CDM exams as well. Data governance and data management are not the same thing. Data governance is oversight. It ensures that data is managed properly. It sets the policies and rules. It defines who is accountable. It monitors compliance. Data management is execution. It is the actual day-to-day work of managing data. It follows the policies and standards that data governance set. It implements the processes. It operates the system and tools. The DM book puts it perfectly. Data governance represents an inherent separation of duty between oversight and execution. Let me give you an analogy that comes right straight from the DM book itself. Think of it this way: governance is the auditor who sets the financial rules, management is the accountant who follows those rules. Both are absolutely essential, but they are fundamentally different functions. You would never want the accountant to audit their own books. In the same way, you need governance to be separate from the people executing and data management work. This distinction matters because many organizations try to make data governance an IT project. They handle it they hand it to the database team or the analytics team. They and say govern the data. That does not work. Governance needs to sit above the execution layer, providing oversight and direction and accountability. Now let me show you the big picture. The DAMA data management framework, also known as the DAMA wheel. If you look around this framework, you will see that the data governance is sitting right at the center. Surrounding it are 10 other knowledge areas: the data architecture, data modeling and design, data storage and operations, data security, data integration, data and interoperability, document and content management, reference and master data, data warehousing, business intelligence, metadata management, and data quality. This placement is not by accident. The DM book places governance at the center because it guides and connects all other data management disciplines. Data governance is not a separate silo sitting off to the side. It is the connective tissue that holds everything together. Think of it like a hub of a wheel. Without the hub, the spokes have nothing to connect to, and the wheel falls apart. Without governance, your data architecture, your data quality programs, your security policies, they all operate in isolation and they eventually conflict with each other. In this course, we will go deeper into two of these knowledge areas: metadata management and data quality. But for now, just understand this: governance sits at the center and everything else depends on it. All right, let's wrap up the part A. You now know what data governance is. It is the exercise of authority and control over data assets built on rules, roles, and accountability. It is separate from data management, and you have seen how it sits at the center of the DAMA framework. Now let's move to part B: why governance actually matters, and let's talk about the business cases. So the DM book defines two main categories of business drivers for data governance. The first category is reducing risk. This includes three areas: general risk management, having oversight of risks that data processes to your organization's finances and reputation; data security, protecting the availability, integrity, and confidentiality of your data; and data privacy, controlling personal identifying information or PII through clear policies and compliance monitoring. If you are in Europe, think GDP, think about GDPR. In California, think CCPA. In healthcare, think HIPAA. These regulations exist specifically because organizations were not governing their data properly. The second category is improving processes. This also includes several areas, including compliance, the ability to respond efficiently and consistently when regulators come knocking. Data quality improvement. When your data is more reliable, your business decisions are better. And development efficiency. Reducing technical debt by governing data throughout its life cycle. Now I want to add a driver that DMBook hints at but was not fully developed when it was written, and that is AI and analytics readiness. In today's world, every organization wants to use artificial intelligence and advanced analytics. But here's the truth. You cannot build reliable AI model on unreliable data, ungoverned data, garbage in, garbage out. The data governance is the foundation of the AI ready organization. Okay. Let's put some real numbers behind this. IBM estimates that poor data quality costs the United States economy $3.1 trillion every single year. At the organization level, Gardner found that average financial impact of poor data quality is $12.9 million per year per organization. That is not a Fortune 500 problem. That is every organization's problem. These costs fall into three categories. Direct cost, rework, error correction, regulatory fines. This is the money you spend on fixing data problems after they happen. Opportunity cost, bad decision made from bad data, missed business insights, and lost revenue. This is the money you never made because your data led you into the wrong direction. And reputational cost, customer trust erosions and public failures. This is the hardest to recover from. When your customer finds out that you send marketing emails to deceased family member, or when the press reports that you file inaccurate regulatory reports, that trust is very hard to recover from. These are not hypothetical scenarios. They happen every day to organizations that do not have data governance in place. So the DM book chapter 1 defines an asset as an economic resource that can be owned or controlled and that hold or produces value. Let me ask you a question. If your organization's customer data, your customer records, purchase history, contact information were completely destroyed from tomorrow, what would it cost to recreate all of that? Millions, tens of millions. For some organization, it would be impossible to recreate. Now look at how differently we treat financial assets compared to data assets. Financial assets are tracked on the balance sheets. They are managed by trained professionals. They are audited regularly. They are protected by the governance framework. Data assets in most organizations they are rarely inventoried. They are managed inconsistently. They are seldom audited for quality, and they are often completely ungoverned. This makes no sense. If data is valuable and it clearly is, then it deserves the same level of discipline, the same level of governance that we give to the financial assets. The good news is that this is starting to change. Data monetization is becoming more common. Some organizations are trading to put data on their profit and loss statements. Just as goodwill valuation once seemed unusual but is now standard practice. The future belongs to the organization that treat the data as an asset it truly is. One more thing is critical over here before we wrap it. The data governance is not same as IT governance. IT governance, which is covered by framework like COBIT, makes decisions about IT investments, the application portfolio, and the overall technical architecture. It is about hardware, software, and infrastructure. Data governance is focused exclusively on data assets, data policies, data standards, data quality, data stewardship, and data lifecycle decisions. Now, do they overlap? Yes, absolutely. To some extent, they do overlap, but they are fundamentally different disciplines with their different goals. And here is the key message I want you to take away. The governance is a business function, not an IT function. If your data governance program lives only inside the IT department, it will fail. Governance must be owned by business, supported by IT, and championed by executive leadership. Let's recap the six key takeaways from this video. Number one, data governance is the exercise of authority and control over data assets. Remember the three keywords: rules, roles, and accountability. Number two, governance is oversight. Management is execution. They are different functions and should not be conflated. Number three, data governance sits at the center of all data management disciplines. It is a connective tissue, not a silo. Number four, the business drivers for governance fall into two categories: reducing risk and improving processes. And today, in today's world, add AI readiness to that list. Number five, data is an asset. It deserves the same management discipline that we give to financial assets. Number six, data governance is a business function, not an IT function. If you internalize these 6 points, you will have a solid foundation of everything that comes next in this course. Okay. Now you know what data governance is and why it matters. In the next video, we are going to build the actual framework. We will talk about the pillars of the data governance, principles, policies, and processes. We will look at how data governance bodies like Data Governance Council and Data Governance Office actually work. We will walk through what an operating framework looks like in practice. If you found this video helpful, please hit the subscribe button so you do not miss the rest of the series. Give it a like, it really helps the channel. And if you know a colleague who is dealing with the data challenges at their organization, share this video with them. Thank you for it. My name is Mohammed Ibrahim, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.